the heartland of America, the gateway to the West. This is Engineering Tomorrow, the podcast, keeping you entertained and in the know on the latest commercial and industrial heating, cooling, and water treatment technologies.
Welcome to another episode of Engineering Tomorrow. I am your host again, Brian Gomsky, in the valley of Chesterfield, Missouri, and I have some fantastic guests that have come from the far reaches of the United States to be here today. They traveled through planes, trains, and automobiles, and again, happy for you guys to be here. Please introduce yourselves, and let's just start it off.
Hey, Brian, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Phillip Smith. I'm with TempMaster. I'm product manager for large rooftops, 25 through 150 tons. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm Eric Evanson. I'm the regional sales manager for TempMaster Rooftop Products, and part of my region is, of course, the Valley of Chesterfield and St. Louis.
If you guys couldn't tell, we are talking about packaged units today. On the street, in slang, they call it rooftop units. They're one and the same. And let's just kick it straight off. I mean, let's not beat around the bush. Why are you guys here? I'm hearing all this stuff about a new benchmark in commercial rooftop units. What is this all about?
Brian, we're really excited about a new rooftop called the Omni Premier. It goes from 25 to 50 tons, has the highest IEER in the industry. We are just really excited about this platform. What else, Eric? What did I miss?
Well, we got the new product, and obviously that is amazing. 25, 50 ton Omni Premier product. We're looking to make a splash in the market with it, with, like you said, highest standard efficiency in the market, and then we go to a higher efficiency as well. And along with that, you know, TempMaster, all along its product line, 3 to 150 tons, is making ongoing investments for the future. If you know the RTU market or rooftop market or package DX market, you know that it's regulated and the regulated efficiency is going up. And we're trying to leapfrog that and really engineer it for the future, if you will. That's
great. Now, for some of our young viewers, maybe guys in college, maybe fresh out of college, let's start with the very basics. What is a packaged or rooftop unit other than it's a box that you sometimes see on the top of a building?
Well, that box, it makes cold air. And it makes cold air because it has why it's called a package unit. It's package system. It uses refrigerant. So it rejects the heat out of the condenser coils from your return air and outside air and keeps your space cool and comfortable. So if you're in a large building and you feel that nice, cool, comfortable air on a hot day, you're welcome. That's us.
And Eric, to add to that, right, we also have package units that can actually add heat to the air so that in the wintertime you have conditioned, nice, warm air coming down your ducts. And it also has fans, right, a supply fan that blows that conditioned air into the space. And in some cases, it also has an exhaust or return fan that brings the air out of the space to condition your environment.
So to break it down even further, if you think about a residential house, it's basically taking all those components and putting it in one box on your rooftop set.
One package, if you will.
One package, yes. Great. All right, now that we've got those basics out of the way, let's talk about investments. You mentioned early on, you know, you guys are spending a ton of money and investing in this product. Go a little bit further on investments and regulation and where you guys are headed.
Well, TempMaster is lucky to have the backing of Johnson Controls as our parent company. And with that, we have a very nice injection of money into our Norman facility where we manufacture all of our rooftop units in Norman, Oklahoma. And if you don't know what Norman is, join the club of most people listening, I would think. Norman is just south of Oklahoma City, and that's where our main office is for the rooftops and where we manufacture all the rooftops. So that investment includes a huge new R&D facility and lab and testing facility that is the largest in North America when it comes to dual reverberant room for rooftop testing.
Oh, wow.
as well as 24-hour testing when you simulate the indoor and outdoor environments for large rooftops. And it's really boosted our capability to manufacture great rooftop units for reliability throughout their life cycle.
And what's becoming more and more important from rooftop platform and regulatory is indeed efficiency. We used to measure efficiency at full load, but now the Department of Energy has injected some new measures into the mix, which is part load efficiency. And we measure part load efficiency by IEER. And we've seen the first wave of those new regulations take place in 2018. And we know that there's some new waves of regulation coming in 2023. So the Premier platform is designed to already meet those higher efficiency levels of 2023. So in essence, you pay for today the efficiency levels that are mandated in 2023.
So you guys have just blown the lid off of these ratings, and you're going straight out to the future with flying cars and regulations, and you guys are going to be set. I've been to your facility several years ago, and even back then I thought the R&D was great, and just to hear that you guys have even expanded it, that's very exciting.
Yeah, we've tripled our R&D and lab staff since you've been to the Norman plant.
That's amazing. Let me jump into something that I'm passionate about, which is marketing in the HVAC industry. Tell me a little bit about, you guys recently did a third-party independently verified study on what really different segments of the market, from engineers to contractors, are looking for in a package unit. Tell me a little bit about that.
So it really came out with some common sense answers, and sometimes you do the experiments to verify what you already think you know, right? So if you had a home unit, if you were buying AC for your house or a large building, whatever you're buying, you want to make sure that it works, that it does what it's supposed to, and doesn't break down right away, and basically you can rely on it. And that's kind of what we got back. Quality was the number one answer, and that's what we focused on as well whenever we talked about investments in our manufacturing facility. Not just new products and R&D, but also taking a step back and reworking and making sure that quality is the number one factor.
Yeah, and the other thing we did, Brian, when we did that study was we made sure that the participants dealt with equipment in the 25 to 50 ton range. And we made the study blind so that those participants didn't know who was asking the question. So their answers were really unbiased. So that was a really cool study. Cost us a lot of money.
It always does.
but it was a real reaffirmation of a lot of the things that Eric just mentioned. You want a product that when you turn it on, it works. It delivers the performance that you expected it to have. It's easy to service, and overall is just a reliable product.
Yeah, and that's something I didn't touch on, but that was the third one. Reliability, quality, and of course serviceability. So, a lot of the people who work with the units are people who buy and sell them and don't see them and don't touch them every day. But the guys that are out there on rooftops on 110-degree days, if they need to work on something, they want to get it done as soon as they can. And these units were designed with that in mind as well.
Let's talk about efficiency. You guys are saying you're getting up to 50% greater efficiency at part-time load than is required. How do you do that? How do you leapfrog, and how are you getting all this more efficient systems?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's not just one thing, but it's a combination of things. For example, it starts with simple things like the casing of the machine, making sure that our thermal resistance, or in other words, the ability of the cabinet to dissipate the cool into the atmosphere, is minimized. So that's measured by R value. So we made sure that our R value was high enough. And then you start talking about the different components in the unit itself. The refrigeration system is really important. Having variable speed drive compressors is an option. really helps us at part load efficiency. Then if you go beyond the refrigeration system, you kind of talk about the fan system. And so having direct drive plenum fans is really important because those are so much more efficient than belt driven fans. So those are some of the things that contribute to the overall efficiency.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, if you think about the car industry now, and it's all about those little tweaks moving. I mean, we're at this point with internal combustion engines. You got to make these little tweaks here and there to squeak it out. There's not that one thing anymore that's just going to leapfrog you over anybody else. That's really awesome. Tell me about you guys you've come out and said you have the most complete range of factory options in the 25 to 50 ton. Tell me about that.
So, and my partner here just touched on some of that, but the modulation of anything that you could modulate, turn up and down. We're talking about heating, cooling, fans, outdoor fans, indoor fans, compressors, all that stuff, all available as factory options. We also have a energy recovery, integral to the rooftop unit, which is something that not a lot of people are capable of, and we have that with bypass dampers. So, if you want to go into economizing mode, and that's free cooling, where you're taking in outside air, 100% outside air, because if it's nice outside, why do you need to run the unit, right? If you can just pull in the outside air and treat your space with outside air.
Right.
If you have an energy wheel, a lot of the times that energy wheel will get in the way of that air, and basically you're having to overcome the pressure of that wheel with the fan. We have the bypass damper as well as there, so you actually have an energy wheel with true free cooling options, which is rare in a rooftop. First of all, to have the energy wheel, and second of all, to have a true free cooling option, even though you have the energy wheel.
Okay. What have you guys done for the contractors, the guys who are on the roof, boots on the ground? How are you going to help them not only install it, but start this up? What have you guys done?
Yeah, that's a great point. And so it's a great source of pride for us. It starts with just making sure that our collateral material is accurate. And what do I mean by that? Making sure that our drawings that come out of our selection tools are accurate and let you know exactly what the length of the unit is, the width of the unit, how the utilities connect to the unit, where the utilities connect, where the drains connect. Having all that material accurately is the first step. And then the product itself has to be designed with a lot of things in it to make it easier to service the unit. And that starts with, how do you make sure that routine things like changing filters are easy? One of the options that we've introduced is a differential pressure transducer across the filter banks. So now you can actually measure the pressure loss across that filter bank. And as that pressure increases, you know that it's time to change your filter. You don't have to do it periodically anymore. You can actually do it based on the filter loading. And then making sure that the refrigeration system is easy to manipulate as well. What are some things, Eric, that we've done on the refrigeration system?
So with the refrigeration system, when we're talking about serviceability, one thing that I like to think of with our rooftop units and building them for the future is not only serviceability being reactive, but being proactive. So if you have refrigeration fault detection diagnostics, and that's a mouthful if you don't know what I'm talking about, but basically we have temperature sensors and pressure transducers on the refrigeration system that are plugged into the control system of the unit. Now, if you're a guy that's worked on rooftops, or a guy that's worked on rooftops, what do you know? If there's something wrong in the refrigeration system, the first thing they do is take those measurements to figure out what's going on, and they do some calculations, and it helps them understand what part of the refrigeration, whether refrigeration is low or overpressurized, or you got a freezing coil, what have you. Now, before any of that would happen, before you'd have to have a guy on a roof, you'd get a fault because we have those sensors integral to the unit. The unit would get a fault and send you a warning before it had a problem, before you have to shut it down and take a compressor out. Now you can go up there and maintenance the unit, maybe, charge up the refrigerant, plug up a tiny leak, what have you, without having any downtime. You can do it on a time when the unit was already scheduled to be down. And scheduled maintenance, trust me, if you don't know, is much less of a headache than non-scheduled maintenance. If the unit's down and you got, whether it's hot people or an office or, a surgery suite that can't have a unit being down, this is where the crucial serviceability comes into play.
Yeah, that's you're 100% on the mark there, Eric. And we've also done some things just mechanically, right, to make servicing the unit easier. We have on the condenser coil, we have some coil cleaning hatches that can be removed to make cleaning of the condenser coil a lot easier. We've placed the compressors of the unit near the edge of the unit, so they're much more accessible. We place the sight glasses on the refrigeration system where you can actually see them. Imagine that. Imagine that.
You can see the sight glasses.
You can see the sight glasses. Sight glasses.
You're blowing my mind.
Yeah, right, I'm telling you.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. You can see the sight glass.
The filter dryers are positioned so that you can easily change those if you have to. We even have options for replaceable core filter dryers on the refrigeration system as well. There's options for shutoff valves on the suction, discharge, and liquid lines so that you can isolate the charge in the condenser and service the machine easier. So a lot of different things have gone into making this unit serviceable.
One of my favorite things is it's such a small thing, but there's a clip on the top of the condenser section. Mm-hmm. So as you know, if you're over 6 feet, OSHA requires you to be tied off somewhere. And if you're on top of a rooftop, on top of the roof, and the rooftop doesn't have a place to tie off to, I don't know where the heck you're tying off to, honestly. So most products...
And everyone follows that rule.
Yeah, everyone follows that rule all the time, yeah. But... yeah, if you got an inspector on site and what have you, you can definitely clip on and be safe all the time when you're up there working on those condenser fans.
That's great. So we've got it installed. It's easy to service. What are you guys doing for peace of mind, redundancy, and reliability? How are you keeping this running?
Well, first of all, for peace of mind on the supply fan being a direct drive fan and not having a belt, that's another point that's not going to fail. You have a belt fail, it can shred up, get into the airstream. I have to come up there and replace it. Something you have to check on more often is making sure your belts are staying tight and not getting shredded. Just like a belt in your car, those fail more often than the components around them. So what we've done with the direct drive fan is you don't have to worry about the belt. And then on top of that, if you have a VFD on the direct drive fan, we can get you a redundant VFD. Which is not very common in rooftops where you have a redundant VFD. So if you have a VFD go down, and that's kind of the early fail point on a lot of those systems, then you have a backup drive that can run the system perfectly fine as if nothing happened until you replace that first drive.
Yeah, the other thing from a redundancy perspective too on the refrigeration system is all our units have 2 circuits of refrigeration. So if one circuit goes down, the other circuit can pick up and continue to deliver conditioned air to the space. On the flip side, on the gas heating, we have modules of gas heat, and each unit has 2 or more modules. So if one module fails, the other module can pick up and continue to deliver conditioned air to the space. And if you want real redundancy, we can actually, our control system actually allows you to twin up to 4 units on a common supply and a common return duct. So think about that. 4 50-ton units can actually deliver 200 tons of capacity to your conditioned space. If one of those units goes down, the other 3 can still continue to deliver conditioned air to the space. That's redundancy.
Wow.
That's redundancy and staging. You imagine we already have a lot of capacity steps and even modulation with the modulating compressor, and putting those steps together on 4 units. Now you have more stages than you know what to do with.
That's great. So you guys, TempMaster is a brand that falls under Johnson Controls. Let's segue a little bit into controls. Let me start with a cool piece of technology. At least I find it interesting. Tell me about the Map Gateway first. What is that, and why do you want it?
So the Gateway is a great tool. It can be used for two things: startup and commissioning a unit and servicing a unit, or permanently attaching the unit to the Map Gateway. And before we get into that, really what the Map Gateway is, it's a little square thing. It's got a cable. You run it to the rooftop unit. You plug it into the control board, and it sends out a little closed Wi-Fi loop signal with the username and password. So you hook up with that Wi-Fi signal, and then you go to a specific web page on any internet-capable device, and now that is your unit interface.
You mean I can use a smart device like an iPhone or
iPhone, iPad, computer, touchscreen, PlayStation 4, whatever you want to use, anything that has an internet browser on it. So now we're talking about, instead of a one line of code and really abbreviated stuff to get on a little control board screen, as you see on rooftops, your touchscreen cell phone is now your interface with the unit. So you're using your cell phone, iPad, computer to change set points, start the unit up, change the scheduling. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure 99% of the people I know have a cell phone touchscreen in their pocket.
I would think so.
I know a few older contractors. They're holding out with the flip phones, but
why do you look at me when you say that?
That's fantastic. It seems like a no-brainer. Why would you not want that? Now let's go even cooler. Tell me about Verisys. What is this magic system that everyone keeps hearing about? Start with the basics, and what does it do?
Yeah, so Verisys is really a building automation system. So what is a building automation system? Building automation system usually just connects all of the T-stats in a space, in a conditioned office space, and it can actually serve as an orchestrator for a rooftop VAV system. So what's a rooftop VAV system? It's a rooftop that's connected through ductwork to VAV boxes. Those VAV boxes control the space temperature by letting air in and removing air from that space. So that building automation system controls the rooftop, the VAVs, and the T-stats in the space, making them all kind of work harmoniously. And so that sounds pretty complicated, doesn't it? It sounds like a lot of dollars. Sounds like computer programming, sounds like a geek, a nerd, I don't know, somebody who costs money.
Yeah.
Somebody who would listen to an engineering podcast or something.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So Verisys is just a very simple way to connect that rooftop to VAV boxes and have that system work as one as efficiently as possible. The other advantage of Verisys or a building automation system is that you can remotely call into that system either through the internet or any other device, and you can from home monitor that system, change set points, attend to alarms, all of that. So Verisys is really powerful in its simplicity and low cost.
One of the great things about Verisys, to me anyway, is when we're talking about larger control systems, very complex, full-blown control systems, you need a controls contractor with a programmer on hand to install and get down to the nitty-gritty there. Verisys was designed, and controls contractors cover your ears, to make the controls contractor on a light building control system unnecessary. A general contractor or an HVAC contractor, you can plug it in, because all you got to do is plug the things in the right order, wire the stuff right, and the Verisys Smart Building Hub, along with the zoning coordinators, recognize what the other components are. They're all pre-programmed, so there is no coding or anything like that. And once it's plugged up and wired up right, and you have, and it's similar to the map, it sends out a little Wi-Fi signal, and you hook it up, and that's your interface, your tablet or computer or what have you. And it's very user-friendly to set up as a general contractor, HVAC contractor, no programming involved whatsoever.
So it's all plug and play. Tell me the ideal building for this type of system.
So like a small office, where you have, or an extension to an office where you don't want to buy a full building automation system. where you have maybe 4 or 5 rooftop, each with their own, 3 to 4 zones, maybe more than that, depending on the size of the office. So Verisys is ideal for that, and its cost point for its ideal application, it's amazing, and it'll blow you out of the water. It'll blow your mind with what you're thinking, what it will cost based on a full control system to what it actually costs.
Yeah, so a small office building, right? Verisys probably wouldn't be right for a 20-story high-rise office building in downtown St. Louis, but it would be the right thing for, I don't know, a 4 to 5-story office building. It would be also ideal for a small church as well, with different spaces in a sanctuary, different classrooms in a sanctuary. It'd be ideal for a small manufacturing facility with a warehouse and some offices. So it's really versatile in terms of what it can accomplish.
Okay. So any reps in the United States selling TempMaster, end users, they can reach out to their local rep and get more information on that? Or do you guys have a website for that as well?
Yeah, it's verisyscontrols.com is the website. And same thing, if you know your local TempMaster rep, they have had the training, and they're Verisys guys as well now. So,
all right, so those are some great new product features and updates. Tell me about some existing products. What do we have going on there?
Well, we have the full 3 to 150 ton line, and like I said, while we are excited about the 25 to 50 ton Omni Premier coming out, we do have some continuing investment in improving our current products. So our 3 to 12.5 and 15 to 25 ton lines, we're coming out with an ultra high efficiency unit.
Oh, that sounds fancy.
It is. I'll tell you, we had a standard unit and a high efficiency unit, and now we have an ultra high efficiency unit. So that's how we came up with
one better.
that.
Ultra's
Yes,
one better.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And, for some projects, the standard is fine, and for some projects, the high efficiency is fine. But these ultra high efficiency units, if you're an owner, you're going to get electrical company rebates if you're familiar with the CEE ultra high efficiency standards. And that's where we really benchmark these, is to hit those standards to get those rebates, as well as, what we call future proofing them. Eventually, a lot of our lines, when this 2023 IER increase comes out, will have to be revamped. So we're getting ahead of the curve already on the 3 to 15 tons, as well as the higher tons that we've been talking about. So we did that. We also added a hot gas reheat to high efficiency. In the past, we've only had standard efficiency hot gas reheat. Now we have an ultra high efficiency hot gas reheat unit with single zone VAV options, just the whole gamut. So the investment runs from top to bottom with TempMaster going forward.
Yeah, and those ultra high efficiency units have some really mind-blowing IEER ratings up to 2021, which is really incredible for rooftop packages.
Yeah. That's great. Let's segue to just rooftops in general. Can you guys give some helpful tips or things you see day in, day out that contractors should look out for when they're installing these units?
Well, I'd certainly say to make sure you order the right voltage units. Unfortunately, while it seems something very, very simple, one of the things we end up having to ship replacement units out to people is we get on site and they ordered 460 volt units and we got 208 volt or 230 volt, and it's such a simple mistake, but it's not a mistake that can be fixed in the field. That's a full replacement job.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think the second thing is it all starts with the installation and the startup. If you have a bad installation where you've cut a lot of corners just installing that unit, and then furthermore, when you start it up, if you don't really follow the manufacturing's guidelines, be it TempMaster guidelines, be it any competitor's guidelines, man, you've just set yourself up for a world of hurt.
Luckily, we do offer plenty of training. We have complimentary online training for our TempMaster products to be started up, where we talk about the Map Gateway tool, among other things, including just the steps to start it up. And, with that training, once you're an authorized contractor, we can talk about some extended labor warranty options that we have if you're started up by a certified contractor. And that is just because we have confidence in the installation, we'll extend the warranty because we trained the person that's doing it.
And so you offer certified training for startup. For everyone out there with TempMaster, do you guys have nationwide service available for these units?
So being part of the Johnson Controls family has its perks, and we do have for servicing and for startup and commissioning, we do have that available through some of our sister brands. Techs, the JCI techs are always authorized to work on our equipment.
Okay, great. All right, folks, you heard it here first. TempMaster, take a look at their website, which is
TempMasterHVAC.com.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being here and answering questions today. We look forward to Midwest Machinery working with you guys. It's a fantastic product. It's a fantastic brand. The people that work there are amazing. Tune in next time to Engineering Tomorrow, and keep engineering for tomorrow today.
Thanks, Brian.
Yep, thanks.
You've been listening to Engineering Tomorrow, the podcast. For more insights and downloadable content, please visit our website at www.engineeringtomorrow.blog. Until next time, engineer for tomorrow, today.